Thank you very much, and could I call to the floor, please? I think it's Mayor Philgold.
Chris Darby.
Chris Darby, thank you.
Well, thank you, Don, and thank you, Ruth, and thank you all for coming here today and discussing the heart of Takapuna. It's great to have this level of engagement. Look, we don't have much time. We've just been allocated a few minutes, and what we're going to do from the council side, I'm going to give you the background, where this all started and how we got to be here today, and the current question that's on the table, and then just outline who's going to be making the future decisions, the final decisions on this big discussion that we're having as a community. So, look, it's great to be here. By way of background, I was a North Shore City Councillor, and I've been a councillor for a couple of terms. I currently chair the Planning Committee for Council, and ultimately the decision will be a Planning Committee decision. That's the whole of the council, all of the councillors, Mayor Goff, and our councillors. I'd like to acknowledge all those councillors, of course Mayor Goff for speeding off the plane and getting back here. Thanks, Phil. But Don, you've covered all the acknowledgements, and time being short, we'll speed on through. I did have an earlier engagement with Takapuna as well. I used to be a property consultant way back in 30 years ago, a long way back, and treated a lot in the area of Takapuna and Northcote, Birkenhead, and in over there in Newmarket. And at that time, the values and the yield of investors was on a par. It was on a par between Takapuna and Newmarket. We know that's very different today, though Takapuna is doing very well in its retail numbers as evidenced through Market View. Let me take you through the background and where it more recently started. When I was a North Shore City Councillor, some of us got together and realised that Takapuna really did need a focus. Back there in about 2006, I remember, we had an attempt to purchase the Burger King site to try and take control of that so that we could give some better options on the repurposing of that whole area, be it public space or different space. And we just missed out on that by $50,000. From memory, it was about $4.8 million it sold for. It's currently valued today at 8.3, and the vendor wants a lot more than that. In 2010, the Takapuna Strategic Framework, it said this about the area. It said to produce a mixed-use development brief for the Anzac Street car park. In 2014, so we're coming into the new council, and the first local board, I should say, the Takapuna Centre Plan talked about the Anzac Street site, and it says it provides an exciting opportunity for a high-quality open space and mixed-use development that can unify the heart of the centre. It went on to say it talked about collaboration with council and private developers. It talked about high-quality mixed-use development, and while offsetting the cost to ratepayers. They are from the strategic document from that local board at the time. In 2015, the local board wrote to Panuku seeking selection of Takapuna as a high priority area for development and investment. It specifically drew attention to the Anzac Street site, and it said this: the current use of the central city space is a limited use of a very valuable land. The Takapuna Centre Plan outlined how it could be redeveloped to transform Takapuna, all from those local board documents. And it went on to say providing prospects for shared space developments without any loss of parking overall. It did say that, parking overall. Didn't say it at that particular place. In March 16, the council at the planning committee, at the Auckland Development Committee, unanimously endorsed Takapuna high-level project plan. Now that's council speak for our determination to reinvest in that centre. Now that high-level project plan, commonly called now Unlock Takapuna, we signed off Unlock Northcote at the same time, was after a selection process of 70 centres right across Auckland, and we landed on 9 Unlock locations, Takapuna being one of them. And so that endorsed the granting of authority to dispose of properties in part in the case of Takapuna and Northcote, and there were quite strategic and important outcomes that were caveated in that decision. And that was a 100% all mayor and councillor vote at that time. And it was totally consistent with the local board directions through those strategic plans I've just outlined. In June 2017, Panuku responded to that confirmation of Unlock Takapuna and made its first investment, which is 30 Hurstmere Road, to the tune of $2 million, responding to the local board direction. And that was to open up Hurstmere Green through the laneways, through to the car park area and beyond. And that was June 17. The local board plan of 2017, still a current document and has not been rescinded. It said this on page 30. The Takapuna Centre plan, which is the one that goes back to 2014 that I've just mentioned, is our overall guiding strategy to revitalise Takapuna. Unlock Takapuna starts by focusing on Anzac Street car park and gasometer site. Anzac Street car park, this is an exciting opportunity for great open spaces, new shops, businesses and places to live. It also said Unlock Takapuna project has the potential goal of creating more car parking. And it lastly said the local board wants the Sunday market to stay in Takapuna and will examine how to make this happen alongside Unlock Takapuna. Totally agree with them. And then we come through to March this year. I'll just go back. I've missed a little bit there of the chronology. And thank you. Then we went to September 2017, and Panuku consulted with all of us, the public, on the proposed change of use. So the planning status for the car park as of old was just car parking. So all the activities that the local board aspired to do, you'd have to change the underlying planning status to mixed use to accommodate it. So Panuku followed that direction, and they went out for that first stage through a regulatory process, and I'll allow David Rankin later on to just cover the detail of that, because I don't have enough time here now. And then in November 17, the Planning Committee, which I chair, it considered the hearings panel's recommendations for the change of use for 40 Anzac, and the committee resolved to defer the decision in favour of Panuku continuing discussions with the local board, which had at that stage a different view to its formal views in all its own strategic documents. Then we come through to March 18, and the Planning Committee reconvened to discuss the hearing panel's recommendations, and at that point we passed resolutions in favour of the change of use, but we stipulated there had to be a town square, there had to be further engagement, there had to be community-led design, and we needed an upgraded and integrated bus station, new car parking on 14 Huron Street, and we needed to accommodate the Sunday market. May, June 18, Panuku took various engagement with the community on the size and location, and David Rankin from Panuku might cover that shortly. It takes us through to July, August right now, and we're asking again 2 town square options and 1 no-do option. And can I just finish this part, Don? So the 2 town square options include, remember it's a reinvestment plan. No one asked for new money from council. In the 10-year budget, the board didn't ask for new money, and no one from the community asked for new money. It's a recycling budget, and so we are considering 2 town square options and don't do anything. Leave it as it is. A vertical car park for 440 cars with provision for an additional 160, and that's 25.3 million. Town square of at least 3,000 metres, 5 million. Public laneway connections, 3 million. Streetscape upgrades on Huron and Northcroft, 2.4 million each. That's 4.8. And then upgrading and integrating the bus station at 3 million. And lastly, last week we had a planning committee workshop, and we invited all the local board chairs and all the councillors, of course, to discuss a review of the high-level project plans. And so I've run my time out, and thanks for the bell, Ruth. But that is the history of getting us to here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And unfortunately, you've taken all the mayor's time, but we're not going to be that uncharitable. Mayor Phil Goff, please give him a big welcome.